We have a winter storm brewing, and some of the coldest air of the season looks to take shape as we head into December. So let's take a look at the season to date snowfall totals as of October the 1st. And here's where the snow has fallen so far over the last 2 months. We've seen a lot of snow across the Intermountain West regions and in those mountain ranges. The ski resorts are just loving it. We did, in fact, see some snow across the Dakotas through areas of Minnesota back to Wisconsin. And of course, just the other day, Chicago picked up their first snow of the season. That storm went through areas of Indiana, back through Ohio, and then really picked up as we went through the Appalachians. And some very heavy totals were calculated over portions of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and getting into areas of Maine. So we'll be adding to those totals. In fact, we've got 3 cold fronts over the next 7 days. A series of cold fronts will be moving in. So this morning, this is our first cold front with below zero temperatures checking in into Montana, and you can see the colder air coming in down from north to south, and it's really kind of draped across Oklahoma, heading into Texas this morning. So not terribly too cold, but definitely signs of colder air on the way. And taking a look at the surface map, all eyes are out west still, because we're still dealing with that mid-latitude cyclone that just pounded areas of the West Coast. They went through a big storm over the last couple of days, and now it's still ringing out precipitation over central portions of California. So they're getting definitely some much needed rain and finally sharing the rain all they got from the northern areas down into the central areas of California. But further off to the east in the Sierras, man, they're measuring the snow in feet. It's just coming down a big time. And yes, those are new winter storm warnings out there in Utah as well as into Colorado. They'll also be measuring the snow in feet. In fact, 1 to 2 feet and even some totals of 3 feet are expected between now and Wednesday night for those ski resorts. So definitely the skiers are loving it out there. And here's the first initial cold front that's already moved through Oklahoma City and heading through areas of Illinois and swinging southbound this morning into Dallas. In fact, I was able to get a picture outside of Dallas this morning as the cold front came in. You can definitely see as it moved through. It was pretty warm this morning, but it definitely fell. Those temperatures dropped like a rock, and now we're going to be in the 50s really all day long, and it's actually the first time they've seen 50s during the day since March the 18th. So that's definitely been a long time, but all eyes were going to be on that storm that's coming out of California. That's going to be continuing following the jet stream and entering those areas of the Intermountain West again. So yes, we're talking you again in Utah and Colorado, where you're going to get pounded with more heavy snow as that winter storm really starts to unload across that region. And that's getting into Tuesday and especially into Wednesday. But you can see the satellite picture. That moisture starts to spread its precipitation away from California and start spreading it inland as that low pressure center will start to deepen over the Four Corners regions as we get into Tuesday. And that winter storm lasts all the way into Wednesday night. And here's the overall precipitation totals, over the next 48 hours. So yes, we'll have the main storm that comes inland off the West Coast. So yes, over those mountain ranges, they'll be definitely measuring the precipitation in feet. That's 48 inches. You can tell that snow is going to be piling up big time, very blinding snow in the mountain ranges, but they're going to share the love as it moves across Nevada, back into Utah, back into areas of Colorado there. And this precipitation out here, that's complements of that cold front that will be moving through now. So once it gets towards areas of the southeast, back through the Tennessee Valley, it's going to pick up some moisture from the flow from the Gulf of Mexico. But we're not talking very much, just kind of lighter rain amounts for Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, heading into Wednesday morning through across this region. So we're talking a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, some maybe isolated areas, possibly up to an inch. But once you get up to the Northeast, that's definitely some welcome signs because they'll take all the rain they get. Because in fact, some of those areas just, went through 6-7 weeks of hardly ever seeing anything. So they've been getting some precipitation and they'll be definitely adding to that. And yes, where it's cold enough, especially where that low pressure is, that's where the snow is going to be flying. So that 4 feet in precipitation, that amounts to about 115 inches of snow in Mount Shasta. So yes, they'll be, cranking out the snowfall totals, across areas of the Sierras. And then, man, really zooming in into areas of Utah as well as into Colorado there's that 1, 2, if not almost 3 feet of snow that will be taking shape. But it's all about the jet stream, and that storm track will be following the jet stream. And that's who's going to be sharing the snow as we head into midweek. So, but by Wednesday, there's the rebound again. So remember, we went through the first initial cool front further south. Now it's going to back up as a warm front. So heading into Wednesday, yeah, you're talking completely opposite, back into the 80s again for a good part of Texas and much of the South. And the colder air will start building from the north, and that second cold front will start moving in. But here's the jet stream. So you got the jet stream that's coming on off the West Pacific, that's going to be moving over the Rockies. We'll have a dry slot across the middle part of the country, but once we tap into some of that Gulf moisture, it should start wringing it out. And by the time it does wring it out, we'll have that change over to snow in areas of Illinois, Indiana, as well as in Ohio as we head into, say, Wednesday night, going into your Thanksgiving. So we'll have that low pressure center now stopping out towards into the Rockies. You have that dry slot in the middle part of the country, but I think the low starts to deepen again as we head into Wednesday night. So this would likely be Wednesday night going into your Thanksgiving morning. We should start to see some wet snow start to fly into Illinois, back into Indiana, southern portions of Michigan here, back into areas of, say Cleveland again. We'll see some heavier snows. And as that continues to move across, following that jet stream from kind of west to east, there's the low. So we'll still be wringing out the snow into Thanksgiving morning across Ohio, getting into Pennsylvania now, back into Vermont and New Hampshire, further south and say West Virginia, back into areas of along the coast, New Jersey, Delaware, DC, those areas. Yes, we'll should see all rain with this system as this continues to move across and getting off the coast, but deepening, but it will be off the coast. So again, the coastal regions will likely be, just because of time of day. Time of day is crucial this time of year, going into the daytime hours as we start to heat up those temperatures just because of the time and day. Yes, it'll be, gravitated towards those higher elevations of Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and heading into Maine. Of course, southern New England will be getting into just the all rain as that low pressure center will continue to lift up to the northeast. But back behind it, yes, that's that second cold front. So this will be your second cold front coming in for your Black Friday shopping. So yes, if you got plans to head out after Thanksgiving for that Friday after Thanksgiving, it's going to be cold, folks, across the good part of the country as you wake up. About 70%. I mean, your body's not really used to the cold yet. We really haven't had much as far as widespread cold, but about 70% of the nation will actually wake up to a freeze across a good part of the country. Of course, areas further south still are going to be waiting on that freeze, but you'll likely get one. It's actually into the southeast, maybe even a hard freeze by the time we head into those first couple of days of December. So we're going to break that thing down for you now. So as that low pressure center will continue to lift off to the northeast, you get the wraparound, and the lakes are really warm this time of year. So then we're going to be transferring to a heavy lake effect snow event heading through the Great Lakes, through a good part of Michigan here, areas of upper portions of Ohio, back into Pennsylvania, New York. We'll definitely be adding to those totals as far as the lake effect totals, and those could be pretty severe. I mean, of course, the warmer the lakes this time of year, and all about the wind direction, we could be setting up shop of some very intense heavy snow going into your Friday morning. But behind that, we'll have our third cold front, and that's going to be the coldest front. So as we've been highlighting on this channel, as blocking starts to take shape over the top. It's always a good sign when you start to see ridging over the top. You get the buckle, the jet stream underneath, and you get this polar lobe that gets detached from the Arctic and shifts southbound. So this will be your coldest temperatures of the season, especially for those central and eastern 2/3 of the U.S. Unfortunately, much of the West will be actually missing out on this colder blast of air, and you'll stay under that ridge of high pressure. You've been cold, actually, so you start to warm up again, and areas across the central and eastern 2/3 will start to feel the effects of that colder air going into the month of December. So as we head into that December 1st, your Sunday time frame, there is the coldest anomaly. So likely where that storm track will have been, has been, and will likely be the coldest anomalies, as what's called polar, polar flow will be coming across. Cross polar flow will be moving in from the northwest down to the southeast, and with the ridging out west, that'll mark a sharp gradient, a kind of a more of a demarcation line of more moderated air further south and more amplified air as you move further east. So the further east you go, especially into the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic, you should start to get your coldest, I would say, temperature anomalies from average, what you would typically see this time of year. And there's the jet stream as we head into that second day of December. Now it really starts to buckle. So you can definitely see it starts to buckle. It's not flattened anymore from west to east. That third storm finally releases that coldest air of the season further south. So yes, we're talking those areas across the southeast. Some of those areas have actually picked up a first freeze already, but we're going to zoom past that, and many areas could see a hard freeze, especially into the southeast and of course further north, as we head into that second day of December. But yes, those first couple of days, you're finally going to feel the effects of that coldest air of the season. So it's a step down process. You got 3 cold fronts over the course of the next 7 to 8 days as they move across. The first one's obviously not as intense. The second one's a little bit more. And then the third one will encompass more areas across the central and eastern 2/3. So now those areas further south, well into the Texas, well into Louisiana, even in portions of the Florida Panhandle, will get into the action of that colder temperature anomalies going into those first couple of days of December. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch the next update. Why protect you before and after the storm.